Sundogs roll the Nevada hot dice, setting up the showdown.
Mark D'Amato, you'll never win this war.
For 2 weeks, the evil emperor has waged his war against Posse and Suzanne Chalene, trying to have them thrown out of the USA.
My grandparents came to this country legally, and the Chalenes are a disgrace to their memory.
Just how will Posse seek revenge against the man trying to destroy his life? Find out now. So, are you ready to mega match?
Welcome back, everyone, to Roller Jam Arena. I'm Ken Resnick, along with my partner, Lee Rehrman. And in all honesty, we have the matchup we were hoping for. By virtue of their win over the Nevada Hot Dice, the Sundogs advance to the mega match to face their nemesis, Mark D'Amato, and the New York Enforcers. And Hawk, the Sundogs really did a great job of picking up the slack for the Chalenes, who were understandably distracted.
Well, it's like a cloud hanging over everybody's heads for the Sundog. But you say that everybody wanted it. Even Mark D'Amato wanted it. You see him here in the first half. He's got a poster saying, "I hate everybody," I think. He's howling at the Sundogs. And here he goes after specifically his arch nemesis, Posse Chalene, toting the American flag in hand. I tell you what, this guy's a great skater and a great competitor, but he's just got it out for these Chalenes, Ken.
Now, earlier today, D'Amato told our cameras, in fact, he compared himself to the founding fathers protecting the Constitution. That's a reach.
Mark, is this about Americanism and immigration, or is this just about skating?
Listen, chump, I told you this had nothing to do with skating. It is my civic duty as a good American to rid this country of those weasels who are making a mockery of our great Constitution.
Now, there is no question, Hawk, Mark D'Amato has certainly stirred up a hornet's nest, but I have to wonder, does he really have proof, or do you think it may all be a mind game?
You talk about a mind game and proof. I want proof that Mark D'Amato has a mind, Ken.
That is a valid point, I've got to say. At any rate, the Sundogs are on the track awaiting the New York Enforcers. Here come the Enforcers. Let's go trackside.
Ladies and gentlemen, introducing from the crystal clear shores of the East River and Rikers Island, here come the leaders of the pack, the New York Enforcers!
Well, like them or not, you have to give the New York Enforcers credit. There is no team in the WSL better at having the ability of snatching victory from the jaws of defeat. And believe you me, when they gain the title of leaders of the pack, they will do anything to defend it.
Right, and Ken, I hate to giggle while you're talking, but seeing Mark D'Amato with the American flag, he's obviously making fun. As John Morrissey, the skull looks on, Mark D'Amato, the sinister, the ugly, the surly. Just a couple of weeks ago, here the Chalenes were carrying the Finnish flag around long before this INS situation broke. But Mark D'Amato, the ominous Mark D'Amato with the American flag in tow as the crowd cheers on USA. Only in America, kid, that's what I guess somebody fought for.
Oh, so I don't know about you, but when I think of someone defending the Constitution, Mark D'Amato does not come to mind, to say the least. At any rate, starting for these New York Enforcers will be perhaps the best blocker in the league, Janet Abraham, along with April Tootle and Karen Magnuson, and the two Enforcer best jammers, Heather Gunnan and Shelley Rossell, in the starting lineup. For the Sundogs, of course, led by quarterback Denise Loden, will be Andrea Franklin, Suzanne Chalene, Kathy Evangelo, and Lindsey Francis. And Captain Mark D'Amato sends out a bruising duo of jammers, April Tootle, one of their biggest skaters, and Karen Magnuson, certainly one of the dirtiest players in the game. Sandwiched between them right now, jamming for the Sundogs, Suzanne Chalene, as Lindsey Francis is still hung up in the back of the pack. Chalene better keep a sharp eye if she gets sandwiched between those two.
And Heather Gunnan, we talked about it, Ken, the injury-plagued Heather Gunnan, usually a jammer, has got a blocker helmet on for the Enforcers.
And down goes Chalene, as we talked about, at the hands of Tootle and Magnuson. Now the two Enforcers closing on the pack, but as always the case now, dropping back to block Andrea Franklin for the Sundogs. Handles Magnuson, sends her high into the board. Tootle tries to go down low. Franklin doing a good job of keeping both of them. But she better open her eyes, because here comes Janet Abraham back to deal with Andrea Franklin. But right now, again, Franklin the elbow to Magnuson. 10 seconds left. Great job of blocking by Andrea Franklin. Now big Janet Abraham sends Franklin right into the infield allowing the two enforcer jammers to go by. We'll wait and see what referee Sean Corbin calls. 2 points for the enforcers.
And Janet Abraham, we talk about physical play of the New York Enforcers and trying to keep the score low. She almost sends Andrea Franklin out of the world skating arena.
You know, I had to question the strategy of the New York Enforcers. Heather Gunnan obviously nowhere near full strength, having her out in that first jam as a blocker, but now she puts on the jammer helmet, and right now it's Lindsey Francis and Shelley Rossell breaking free. Gunnan, highly uncharacteristic, wearing a jammer helmet, still at the back of the pack, receiving a number of knees from Kathy Evangelo. But now, here come Rochelle and Lindsey Francis, a knee from Francis, and the Sundogs evidently trying to play physical like the Enforcers do. Again, back to block, Andrea Franklin. Rochelle tried to go high. Good job. Franklin has her sandwiched in. Abraham preventing Lindsey Francis from getting by. Right now, blocking the story of this one from Franklin and Janet Abraham, big number 16 for the New York Enforcers. Andrea Franklin, of course, number 30 for the Sundogs. So far, both blockers doing a great job of preventing either jammer from getting by. 5 seconds left in the jam. We could be looking at a scoreless jam, and that's exactly what we look at. Though I beg your pardon, referee Sean Corbin realized at the last minute one of the enforcers went by. 1.3-0 New York.
And Janet Abraham going after Andrea Franklin. Ken, we saw in the first jam, she almost sent her out of the building. Well, if that wasn't enough this time, she goes right after her up along the rail. We'll be back.
We're back, everyone, and so far, Hawk, the Sundogs, I think, almost trying too hard to seek some vengeance against the New York Enforcers, unable to even get on the scoreboard.
Well, we talk so much about the cloak of nightmare scenario for the Sundogs with this immigration problem, but we forgot to talk about the Sisters of Suffering and the Enforcer women. Well, Heather Gunnan is never at a loss for words.
We have an image to win out there. We have an image to portray. And what is an image? An image is something in your mind. So if we can control your mind when we're out there on the track, we're going to win every single time.
She's got strong words, Ken, but for some reason she's got a blocker helmet on, not a jammer helmet.
Great opportunity right now for the Sundogs. Andrea Franklin and Gina Lombardo jamming if they could get out, because uncharacteristically, Janet Abraham is on the bench, not out there to block. Now, Lindsey Francis gives a whiff to Gina Lombardo. Shelley Rossell breaks out, as does April Tootle. The enforcer blockers are doing a good job of keeping Franklin hemmed in the pack. They come around the corner, and Gina Lombardo takes the inside. A straight side hawk. Heather Gunnan again on the track, but as a blocker.
Well, she's a blocker, and you got Janet Abraham on the bench. We don't call that very often. We don't have Janet Abraham out there as an enforcer blocker, but we have Heather Gunnan. Very strange circumstance.
And down goes Gina Lombardo. Now Shelley Rossell tangling with Denise Loden and April Tootle. Loden was one of the premier blockers, one of the premier jammers, and one of the smartest skaters in all the WSL, trying to single-handedly keep the enforcers off the board. But look at Karen Magnuson. Grab her, take her head first into the railing. We've talked so many times about Magnuson being the dirtiest player in the game. Tootle and Rossell go by, but referee Sean Corbin, smart play, illegal block on Magnuson. No points, and a great block, illegal block by Magnuson.
Well, not only are the points taken down, Ken, but Karen Magnuson will go into the penalty box for that illegal block. A golden opportunity for the enforcers, lost by Karen Magnuson.
The enforcers now skating one woman down as Magnuson sent to the penalty box for an illegal block, a one-jam penalty. Janet Abraham back on the track, skating short-handed right now. Kara Friedman breaks free for the Sundogs, being chased by Linda Leisure. And again, here they come around the turn.
Well, we talked about the injury to Debbie Rice, the speedster for the Sundogs. Kara Friedman, a little bitty thing, to use some slang out there, but she's doing a great job, kid.
5 feet, 110 pounds out of Fort Lauderdale. And you see her teammates urging her on, trying to get her up to the pack as Leisure went into the rail. But now we'll see what the little one can do against Janet Abraham. And Andrea Franklin back to block on Linda Leisure. Leisure sneaks by. And again, it is Andrea Franklin and Janet Abraham. And a great move right there by Andrea Franklin, trying to get Kara Friedman to sneak underneath. And that's exactly what happened. Great blocking, great teamwork. 1 point for the Sundogs.
And Garrett Friedman scored the points, but it was all Andrea Franklin against Janet Abraham. We saw Janet Abraham picking on Andrea Franklin earlier. That time she got the better of her, Ken.
3-1 New York's finally the Sundogs on the board. And now you've got Shelley Rosell trying to go high, and now she cuts low along with her teammate Linda Leisure. Both the enforcers out, but now we have seen this so many times. Denise Loden puts on the jammer helmet every time the Sundogs need a lift. Loden puts on the jammer helmet and says, climb on my back. But I'll tell you, I don't know if she can handle these two New York enforcers, but she does right there, being urged on by Debbie Rice, still feeling the effects of a concussion, hoping to be cleared to skate by next week. Now, here comes Loden around. Just about 20 seconds, you see big Janet Abraham calling her up. Finally, Shelley Rosell back on her feet, but a half a lap back. What a battle this will be. Abraham and Denise Loden. Loden goes right by her, thought about cutting off the jam. Saw Andrea Franklin back to help, decided against it. A great move as she goes through almost the entire pack. Now Abraham back in front, but remember, WS rules, once you pass a blocker, the point stays on the board. 4 points for Denise Loden.
Well, we got tremendous athletes here in the World Skating League, and Denise Loden is, if not the best, one of the best. You see her making the Sisters of Suffering, the New York Enforcers, look almost foolish as she does it all, scores 4 big points as the Sundog fans look on.
5-3 Sundogs, and certainly the strategy obvious, coordinated by Denise Loden. Andrea Franklin, Lindsey Francis picking up the slack for Debbie Rice because they really missed that speed. Linda Leisure breaks out, being chased by both Francis and Lombardo.
But she's not going to make it, Ken. Time's going to run out. Didn't have a chance to get around to the pack.
Golden opportunity misses, and Jamcock runs out. Now here's 2 former roommates, Heather Gunnan and Debbie Rice, going right at it. Gunnan and Rice, we have chronicled their feud from the very get-go here in the World Skating League. Both referees now come in to try and break them up, and finally they do, but there is no love lost between these two.
They're very evenly matched in skating styles and speed, and Lord knows when they start to battle it physically on the infield, they're matched as well. Don't go anywhere.
Well, there is absolutely no question that Denise Loden, Andrea Franklin, and the Florida Sundog women have really stepped it up in this battle for leaders of the pack. Now it'll be up to the men to continue the trend. And starting for the Sundog men, David Gleddy, Captain America Bill Barker, Tom Smith, Sean Marshall, and Jonathan Russell. For the New York Enforcers, John Morrissey, Fred Eichhorn, Tim Washington, Brian Gamble, and of course, Captain Mark D'Amato.
But Ken, we know that these mega match leaders of the pack enforcers always come to play.
As always, it's a racehorse start at the beginning of each period. John Morrissey goes around, goes down, but gives a whip to his teammate Fred Eichhorn. And it's Fred Eichhorn and Posse Chalene. Posse Chalene, we talked about, so glad to be at least temporarily allowed to skate due to the ruling of Commissioner Jerry Seltzer and Hawk. A good ruling, I think it was.
Well, and you saw Posse Chalene at the qualifying round to get here to the Mega Match, single-handedly getting the Sundogs in with some late play in the first half of our doubleheader. Unbelievable. Posse Chalene has the physical skills, and he's emotionally driven.
And now Mark D'Amato back. This is a rivalry on the track, off the track. Talk about bad blood. D'Amato trying to get Chalene deported. D'Amato trying to say the enforcers are America's team. Now he goes. He tried to get his double bulldog. He couldn't do it, so he runs Posse Chalene right into the railing. He wanted to, but a good job by Jonathan Russell of avoiding it. I can say almost with certainty we have not heard the end of Mark D'Amato and Posse Chalene as Commissioner Jerry Seltzer confers with Chalene's attorney, William Schaefer.
Well, and William Schaefer, I don't know if he likes what he sees as this holy war between Mark D'Amato and his client, Posse Chalene, continues. But the physicality on and off the track is getting ugly here, Ken. We'll see how it plays out as this game continues physically.
Posse Chalene picking up 2 points for his Sundogs. 1 enforcer point. Referee Sean Corbett sending Mark D'Amato to the penalty box. A 1-jam penalty for holding. What D'Amato did when he went for the double bulldog, when he missed the second member of the Sundogs, he clasped his hands, and that was illegal. Good call. Enforcer skating 1 man short. Now out jamming for the Sundogs. It's Sam Martin and Fred Eichhorn. Eichhorn doing uncharacteristically a lot of jamming early on. Maybe a little tired as Sam Martin puts him down, and he's coming up back at the pack. Big Tim Washington. And boy, you talk about a David and Goliath mismatch right here. Sam Martin, he's going to have to use his speed because physically, as I said, no way he can stay with Washington. But Tim, you better turn around. Martin very quickly up on his feet one more time. Sam Martin, the Flame, a lot of heart, but so far no success. And Izzy gets by Washington, now dropping back. Big Brian Gamble. Now Washington takes him down, and referee waves it off. He did not lock his hands. Smart move by Tim Washington.
Who, me, he says? Ha. And Tim Washington goes to the head of Sam Martin. As you see Sam Martin, he can almost be hidden by Tim Washington, who holds his hands up. Who, me, as the crowd looks on as Tim Washington takes control.
Sundogs still clinging to a three-point lead, trying to unseat the New York Enforcers and claim leaders of the pack here in the WSL. In all honesty, the title the Enforcers feel is almost a birthright to them. And right now breaking out is John the Skull Morrissey. And down goes Jonathan Russell. Again, the physicality of the Enforcers coming into play.
And you got to look for Bill Barker, number 12 for the Sundogs. They call him Captain America. He is as physical as they come. And in this big battle with the Enforcers, with Mark D'Amato and Tim Washington, number 12, Bill Barker, is going to be looked upon to retaliate and to keep the Enforcers' physical play in check. Look at him today to play a big role, Ken.
And right now, you see John Morrissey closing. David Gleddy, the Gator wrestler, back to block for the Sundogs. Certainly Floor exhibiting a great deal of teamwork, almost unified around Posse and Suzanne Chalene. And now Morrissey is able to, it looks like all but sneak by David Gleddy, and they both go down as the jam clock expires. David Gleddy taking a page out of the Enforcers handbook.
You gotta like David Gleddy's thinking. Answer fire with fire. Take it to the Enforcers physically, something they're not used to having done to them.
Well, John Morrissey takes it to Jonathan Russell, number 11 of the Sundogs right there. You're absolutely right, Ken. As David Getterboy Gleddy takes the skull down to the ground, little insult to injury as he lays the body slam on him. These Sundogs are not going to sit, as Gator Boy has to sit in the penalty box.
As we thought at the last instant, Morrissey able to sneak by Gleddy, picking up 1 point, but now David Gleddy in the penalty box, a one-jam penalty for hitting after the play, as the referee's trying to keep this one under control, which is a very hard thing to do anytime the Enforcers are skating. Now we've got all four jammers loose. It's Blaise Leon and Dan Cavani for the Enforcers, Sam the Flame Martin, and Tom Smith for the Sundogs. And now both the Enforcers on the track. A great opportunity for the Sundogs, who have really exhibited some excellent teamwork. Everybody picking up the slack. But back to block is D'Amato, but I don't know if he can contain both Smith and Sam Martin. 20 seconds left in the jam clock. Mark D'Amato, and also coming back now, Big Tim Washington. Blaise Leon, smart move, knew he couldn't catch up to the pack. Dropping back to 8 as a jammer. And now D'Amato going for the Texas Bulldog, and a double clothesline from Brian Gamble.
Obviously, the Enforcers deciding they were going to show the Sundogs, despite what David Gleddy tried, they are the physical team.
And Brian Gamble, it almost looks like a Tim Washington-induced King Kong. Ken, there are bloody nose and elbows all over the track. It's getting physical, it's getting ugly. And Sam Martin, you see the dazed look on his face as he tries to gather himself.
That would be a key loss for the Florida Sundogs if he's shaken up and is unable to come back. We'll keep a close eye on Martin.
We're underway. The Sundogs pick up 2 more points. Brian Gamble in the penalty box. If you're wondering why, in WSL rules, you can stop and plant, but you can't skate backwards or toward the pack, which is what Gamble did in setting up that clothesline. That's why the Enforcers are skating short-handed as we're winding down. Right now, it's a battle between Blaise Leon and Jonathan Russell, but time is running out here, and it looks like this period will come to an end. 9-5 Sundogs.
Certainly, Florida has to be very pleased with their performance. We talked about a certainty that we haven't seen the end of Chalene and Mark D'Amato, and here they go again.
Well, and this is more important than just today's game, Ken. This is the Holy War, as the Chalenes are facing an uncertain situation. As their attorney, William Schaefer, with Commissioner Seltzer, looks on. Don't go anywhere. It could get exciting here.
Everyone, and Florida Jam Arena. It's halftime. I'm Ken Resnick along with my sidekick, Lee Rehrman. And a low-scoring matchup. It is 9-5 Sundogs in the lead. And Hawk, without a question, a low-scoring game favors the Enforcers. They like to play it slow and very physical.
Well, you hit it on the head with physical, and I might hit you on the head, Killer Ken, but in the first half, you saw it all. Here you see Mark D'Amato and Posse Chalene. We've been talking about it for weeks here in the World Skating League, the immigration feud going on, but I just wanted you to watch. You saw Tommy Z, one of our referees, go down there. Here it continues later. Our camera guy, Fred, almost takes a header down there on the track. These guys have been going at it on the track, off the track, before the game, after the game. I think they fight in the locker room and in the parking lot. Probably going at it right now, Ken, in the locker rooms.
And certainly on the women's side, you see Karen Magnuson. We talk about her being the dirtiest player in the game. No thought of scoring, just runs Denise Loden's head right into the rail.
And last but not least, if Mark D'Amato isn't beaten up on Posse Chalene, he sets up the double bulldog, and with a little help from Brian Gamble, he creates a new move. Ken, I'm calling it the bullfrog.
I'll tell you what, I cannot say enough about the Florida Sundogs, how Bill Barker, Denise Loden, Andrea Franklin have stayed focused on the Enforcers. Remember, again, they're going without their speedster, Debbie Rice, which really hurts against the Enforcers.
Absolutely. And also, Bill Barker, we never say enough about Captain America, but because he doesn't say too much, he doesn't get a lot of microphone time. Great player, very physical.
And we talked about how distracted the Chalenes are, and rightly so. They're standing by with our Broadway Danny Wolf, along with their attorney.
Okay, I'm here with the attorney for Posse and Suzanne Chalene, William J. Schaefer. William, let me ask you, if all the papers are in order, and I'm talking about Posse and Suzanne's legal documents, what's the holdup? What's taking so long?
Well, as you know, we have filed a writ of prohibition to keep Posse and Suzanne from being deported until such time they are free to skate. The problem is when you're not a U.S. citizen, you only have minimal due process rights. These things take time. We do have the documentation together. We're awaiting a full evidentiary hearing and our full due process rights. Until that time comes...
When is that time going to come?
We are very optimistic that it should be within the next 30 days, perhaps sooner.
I don't think there's any question. All of us associated with the World Skating League certainly hope the Chalenes are able to stay in this country.
Well, and this cloud of immigration, as soon as we get rid of it, we can actually get back to good skating and good play, and that's what we're all here to watch anyway.
Now, like them or not, the New York Enforcers have a vice-like grip on the title Leaders of the Pack. Here are some of the reasons why.
From the bowels of New York City, the Giants of Gotham emerge to tower over the competition.
We are the dominant team in this league. The reign of terror has only begun.
They are built like skyscrapers and know no mercy.
Baby, we dominate. We know what we're doing out there. Pain is the game.
With the speed of an express train, they roll over their competition.
I almost feel sorry for these sissy other teams because New York's automatic every week in that mega match.
They are the Black Knights of the World Skating League and play a symphony of suffering.
The sound of bones breaking is music to my ears.
They are the leaders of the pack.
The Enforcers find themselves in unfamiliar territory, trailing in the mega match. Will it hold true? The second half is next, and we'll find out. Don't go away. As we get ready for the second half, Hawk, it's anybody's mega match.
Well, and here we are, leaders of the pack on the line for the mega match. Second half action coming right now.
Again, the race has started at the beginning of each period, and Linda Leisure breaks free first. Gina Labarra got taken in her own skate. She goes down. Kathy Evangelo takes the lead from Leisure. 9-5 Sundogs trying to unseat the Enforcers as leaders of the pack in this mega match this week of the WSL. Evangelo and Leisure now. Here comes Gina Lombardo up on her skates, closing in. Great opportunity for the Sundogs. 2 jammers out for 1 Enforcer.
And I'll tell you what, Ken, obviously the injured Debbie Rice for the Sundogs and the hampered Heather Gunnan for the Enforcers. This is a very low-scoring game. Characteristic of the Enforcers, not characteristic of the Sundogs.
Leisure goes over the track. Both Evangelo and Gina Lombardo go by. A great opening start as Lombardo goes down, but it's done some damage. Great opening start, and now finally the jam called off by Kathy Evangelo, but 3 big points for the Florida Sundogs.
And Kathy Evangelo very pleased with herself as you saw a big smile on her face. And what she did, even though she has a jammer helmet on, is she put a big shot to Linda Leisure to pave the way for her teammate to score some points. And Tim Washington with a look of concern on his face.
The speedsters now jamming for the Sundogs. It is Suzanne Chalene and who else but Denise Loden coming out, but it is Shelley Rossell that counters and sneaks out for the Enforcers, being pursued by Denise Loden. Suzanne Chalene all tangled up in the back of the pack, as is Heather Gunnan. Certainly this is not the Heather Gunnan we're used to seeing, but it is neck and neck. And now Loden sends Shelley Rossell out and over the railing. Denise Loden trying to build on this big lead the Sundogs are putting up. Dropping back, it's Trudel, Abraham, and Magnuson. A form of the Wall Street, but going forward for the Sisters of Suffering. Again, Denise Loden unable to go back. Andrea Franklin trying to come back to help her teammates, trying to break up this wall set up by the Sisters of Suffering, but they are firmly entrenched. Loden again going by. Under 10 seconds, Andrea Franklin trying to help to break it up. But the Sisters of Suffering, and this time down goes Loden. As you see, the Sisters celebrating.
And it's not too often you get the better of Denise Loden on the track, but certainly the Sisters of Suffering did just that.
Well, the Sisters of Suffering looked like the Wall of Suffering as the triple block. Denise Loden took on two of them in the form of Janet Abraham and Karen Magnuson. As Suzanne Chalene looks on, you wonder how concerned she is and how concerned all these Sundogs are, Ken.
14-5 Sundogs. So for those of you at home that are wondering how the Sundogs picked up 2 points, remember early in the gym, Shelley Rossell went out over the railing onto the track. She was still a member of the Enforcers. Denise Loden passed her 2 times going around the track. Hence the Sundogs pick up 2 points. In the WSL, if a skater is thrown over while the jam continues, they are still considered a member of the team. Now we've got Suzanne Chalene out for the Florida Sundogs, being pursued by Karen Magnuson and Andrea Franklin. Remember, Magnuson, the dirtiest player in the game, sends Suzanne Chalene down to the infield. Now Magnuson goes up, Kathy Evangelo with a big elbow. Also back to black, Lindsey Francis, and now Andrea Franklin catches up, and she goes into the railing. Magnuson goes by Lindsey Francis, and now the jam is called off.
And there are Sundogs laying all over both inside and outside the track.
Well, this was the Karen Magnuson, Janet Abraham show. You see at the beginning, Karen Magnuson sending Suzanne Chalene down. Then you see an alert Janet Abraham turning around, sending down Andrea Franklin. And then if Karen Magnuson hadn't had enough, she scores some points, calls off the jam. All in a day's work for Karen Magnuson and the Sisters of Suffering.
4 New York Enforcer points, Hawk. Even though the Sundogs are leading this one, playing extremely well, the Enforcers just keep hanging around.
Well, let me tell you, Mark Tomato is actually circling the track. Even though the men are not on the track, he is taunting the Sundog women, mainly in the person of Suzanne Chalene. He is not letting this issue get out of being in the forefront for the Sundogs, and he sees it as a way to get an advantage here.
And you see Heather Gunnan out on the jam, go by Gina Lombardo, turn around, and just drop her. Heather Gunnan now closing in back to block for the Sundogs. Denise Loden, marquee matchup right now. It's Heather Gunnan going up against Denise Loden. Karen Magnuson tried to take out Loden. She avoided her. And again, Magnuson tries Loden, avoids her, goes right back, keeping her sights on Heather Gunnan as we close 15 seconds. And now it looks like Evangelo going out over the track. So Gunnan will pick up that point. Andrea Franklin goes into the railing. Denise Loden labeling Heather Gunnan again. And now Lindsey Francis goes out. So again, Denise Loden doing a great job of blocking, but Heather Gunnan picked up 3 points, passing all 3 Sundogs that have been thrown out over the track.
Well, last jam we called it the Karen Magnuson, Janet Abraham show. This time it was the Heather Gunnan, Karen Magnuson show. As you see Karen Magnuson doing some blocking, Heather Gunnan, again, Karen Magnuson doing some more blocking. Heather Gunnan scored a couple of points, calls off the jam, fixes her hair, fixes her helmet, goes back to work, Ken.
As is the case so often, when the scoring gets close, Denise Loden puts on the jammer helmet, trying to single-handedly lead her team. It's 14-12 Sundogs. Now breaking out is Lindsey Francis, and she takes a big whip from Andrea Franklin, but right on her tail is Heather Gunnan. Gunnan suddenly seemingly renewed, recovering from her injuries, battling Lindsey Francis, and Denise Loden goes by and puts down Gunnan. And now a great opportunity for the Sundogs to add to this lead. We get under 40 seconds. Denise Loden and Lindsey Francis. But once again, here comes Heather Gunnan trying to catch up. Shelley Rossell, the other enforcer jammer, has not even been able to get out of the pack and has pretty well given up on it. Staying back to block. Now you see Loden trying to reverse whip from Aunt Kathy Evangelo, and it works to perfection as Denise Loden goes by a number of enforcers. Now setting her sights on the lead jammer who never got out, Shelley Rossell. And now Loden cuts off the jam. Again, how many times have we seen it? A great jam by Denise Loden, picking up 4 points.
Well, she saw that Mark D'Amato was putting himself into the game, taunting the Sundog women, and she took it upon herself to really get things back in the Sundog court.
And you see Heather Gunnan and Debbie Rice, they've gone at it before. Gunnan intent on going after Debbie Rice, even though Rice in street shoes. For some reason, Gunnan just wants to add insult to injury, Rice being unable to skate. We'll be back right after this.
Roller jab.
She is no match for me.
The Dice Girls are hot.
I got plenty of ammunition.
It's all about good guys and bad guys.
Stay out of my line, or you go down big time.
Get down, get dirty.
I kick your butt.
Over the top, over the edge. The Hot Dice take on the Sundogs. Roller Jam. Saturday at 5 on TNN.
We are back, everyone, and Hawk, the question on the table. The Sundogs have held the lead since the middle of the first period. Can they hold it?
Well, I don't know, but the men are on the track right now, and we'll find out shortly. Here we go with the 4th period of the mega match.
We're off to the races as we start the 4th and final period. Sundogs in front, 18-12. John Morrissey breaks out high, being trailed immediately by Sam the Flame Martin. This one, certainly Martin, the faster skater, Morrissey, the more physical, but the elbow slows Morrissey just enough to allow Martin to take the lead, and now they reverse trends.
And I'll tell you what, Sam Martin, coming off that first game, the emotional battle with his brother, has gone at the enforcers with this physical prowess. Good job by Sam Martin.
And now Mark D'Amato back to block for the New York enforcers, and David Gleddy doing the same for the Florida Sundogs. And D'Amato just dropped Sam Martin. Now it's going to be up to David Gleddy, but D'Amato dropped Gleddy, and John Morrissey picking up one.
He's dropping everybody, Ken.
D'Amato sends another of the Sundogs over the railing, and a great job. And again, John Morrissey picking up a number of points. Bill Barker goes down, and a whole host of Sundogs. Now finally, Morrissey loses his balance, but there's no question due to the blocking of Mark D'Amato. The New York enforcers, Tim Washington absolutely de-skates Sam Martin. Unbelievable elbow from the big man out of Manhattan, 6'3", 270.
Washington not the only one being physical, as is Mark D'Amato. Danny?
All right, I'm here with Denise Loden. How confident are you that you guys are going to become the leaders of the pack once again?
I'm real confident. We're just minutes away from a victory, and I tell you what, trying to skate out there today without Debbie Rice, I was really feeling it. But we're able to pull it through. It's up to Posse and the rest of our guys now, and I think he can do it.
Good luck, Denise.
Thanks.
From beauty to the beast, Denise Loden unable to do anything more. Mark D'Amato still has a lot to say as we have a lot of World Skating League action left here, Ken.
We're underway again, and immediately coming out from a whip is Fred Eichhorn going high on the track. Sean Marshall went for a block and missed him, and now as Eichhorn goes around chasing him and catching up very quickly is Jonathan Russell out of Edgewater, Florida, number 11, and down over the rail goes Jonathan Russell. Fred Eichhorn went down but stayed in the track. Eichhorn goes by. Remember, as he passes Russell, he picks up that point.
And I'll tell you what, the enforcers are really at a disadvantage in this kind of game, Ken. They don't play catch-up well because their jammers aren't real fast.
And David Gleddy doing a good job of blocking Eichhorn, but Tim Washington just puts him right down. And Washington takes down 2 more of the Florida Sundogs. And a great job of blocking by Tim Russell. And now Brian Gamble sends Bill Barker into the railing. And very quickly, the enforcers are getting back into this one with 2 points.
And those were 2 badly needed points. As Fred Eichhorn sends Jonathan Russell, he gets down, but he doesn't give up, Ken. He comes up a little later as the Redneck Radars brought out of mothballs by Tim Washington. 2 big points for Fred Eichhorn, bringing the enforcers back into it.
only 2 points awarded to the New York Enforcers. Once referee Sean Corbin called Tim Washington a one-jab penalty for illegal blocking. That negated further scoring as a result of Washington actions. Very heads-up play by our referees. Now it's Dan Gavani and Blaze Leon jamming, and one of the Sundogs almost went in the railing, did a good job. This is Tom Smith, who regained his balance, but anytime hockey, you've got 2 enforcers after 1 Sundog, you've got trouble.
Well, you got trouble, but I'll tell you what, the enforcers really have to be conscious of the clock here. They're a man down.
And Tom Smith goes right over the railing, and Dan Gavani goes by the entire pack. Blaze Leon gets tied up by Sundogs, but Dan Gavani went right by and picked up 4 points. That was it. After that, the skate hit the infield as Blaze Leon called again. Alert refereeing by Sean Corbin. 21-20 Enforcers in the lead.
And you call it alert. It's kind of tough with all these bodies out there, as you see. I can't even name all the people that are going down, but Mark D'Amato and these New York Enforcers always seem to get it done.
How many times have we talked about it? This is a New York Enforcer style. They hang around, but when the game gets close, they go into the lead.
Well, I tell you, a lot of teams come to play. The Enforcers, you hit it on the head, Ken. They come to win, and this mega match seems to be where they bring it all out, and they play when it counts, and we're seeing it here right now.
Dan Gavani goes down. Blaze Leone sneaks right by Bill Barker and is out of the jam. But here comes Ponce Chalene with a burst of speed. This is Blaze Leone. Ponce Chalene sends Leone right into the track. Ponce Chalene for the Sundogs. They trail by 1. 30 seconds left in the jam, and now he closes on the pack. D'Amato calling back Brian Gamble. He knows he's going to need help against Chalene. Bill Barker talks strategy. 19 seconds on the jam clock. Now, let's see. It's going to be Barker and D'Amato. And Barker leads his feet, sends D'Amato into the rail. Chalene sneaks by, and then alertly calls off the jam.
And Brian Gamble, not very happy with the seesaw battle that has just gone the way of the Sundogs, starts to mix it up as our referees try to separate a rabid Brian Gamble. He's excited, Ken.
There is no question tempers are beginning to run short with Brian Gamble going at almost anyone he can go after as the referee has words with him and now finally gets them separated. In fact, Danny Wolf is catching up with Brian Gamble.
Brian Gamble, less than 2 minutes left, and you got a 2-jam penalty. Not a good time for that.
No, it's a bunch of baloney. The referee sucks. He doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. I'm having words with Posse. Bill Barker's got to come and babysit for him because the little wuss can't fight for himself.
Well, let's see if the Enforcers can turn that passion into a victory.
Whenever the chips are on the line, the Enforcers step right up to the plate. Suddenly, they have closed to within 1 point of the Florida Sundogs. It's anybody's mega match.
It'll be gut check right now for the New York Enforcers as Brian Gamble in the penalty box for a 2-jam penalty as the instigator of the fight, meaning in effect the Enforcers will skate the remainder of this game shorthanded. Now out for the Enforcers jamming is Fred Eichhorn. Drops Sam Martin. Oh, brother Martin goes out through the track. What an opportunity right now for the Enforcers.
When we talk about it, though, Fred Eichhorn is going to take him a while to get around there, and the Enforcers are running out of time.
But he's passing Sam Martin as they go by, and now D'Amato goes back. And it's Bill Barker trying to block. But right now, Fred Eichhorn doing a good job. D'Amato detained Barker long enough for Eichhorn to go by him. Now D'Amato goes right to the front. And a whip finally now from David Letty. And Tom Smith brings free once again. And Martin again goes into the railing. And now we've got the jam called off. But a big jam. 6 points for the New York Enforcers.
And Mark D'Amato looking on positively as his team really takes it to these Sundogs in the mega match. You saw the points, you see the physical play. We can't say it enough. The Enforcers are comfortable as leaders of the pack, and right now it looks like they might stay that way.
27-22. Remember, the game clock now means nothing. In the WSL, the final jam of the final period can go for the full 60 seconds as long as it gets going. Sundogs trailing 27-22. Ponce Chalene out. Tough break for the Sundogs. Sam Martin got lapped twice while he was outside the track. Then accounted for all the points that New York scored. 35 seconds in the jam clock. Here comes Posse Chalene. Back to block. Mark D'Amato. You know the feelings. Now D'Amato goes to the front of the pack. I'm not quite sure what brought that on, but you know the New York captain has something in his bag of tricks. Now he drops back, gets tangled up, but does the job. Takes Posse Chalene down. And we've got Sean Corbett calling off the jam. D'Amato refusing to let Chalene up.
It seems to be the same old story time and time again. The enforcers fall behind, but in the key games in the fourth period, they find a way to win. And now we've talked about it all game long. Here's Mark D'Amato and Posse Chalene going at it for about the 5th time tonight.
Well, and these guys don't seem to want to quit as the American flag now is being used as a weapon. Mark D'Amato had brought it out early, and Posse Chalene did not like it. His and his wife's position here in the World Skating League, not only is a loss here today hurting them, but their position in the World Skating League is in jeopardy here, Ken.
And once again, you see, although I can't agree with Mark D'Amato skating with the American flag, nonetheless, once again, the New York Enforcers successfully defend their title of leaders of the pack. Let's go trackside to Broadway, Danny Wolf.
All right, the Enforcers remain the leaders of the pack. What's amazing about this? What's amazing about this is Florida being America's quote-unquote team. You guys had the crowd chanting USA, USA throughout the game.
Who was holding the American flag?
You were.
And note who was holding the Finnish flag.
Well, Posse.
Exactly.
Tim Washington, get in here. The Enforcers right now, better than ever. You made 2 separate fourth-period comebacks. You're blocking. The call for the pull-away at the end was genius.
Undoubtedly the kings of the mega match, baby. We're going to dominate every single time.
And Brian Gamble, also great game by you.
Thank you, brother, man. Would you expect any less from the fiercest bunch of freaks in New York, brother?
Well, the freaks from New York, the 5-borough lineup, the Ben did a great job. Great fourth-period comeback. The Enforcers still the leaders of the pack. Back to you, Ken and Hawk.
I tell you what, Ken, the Enforcers did it again. Whatever you want to say about these guys, Mark D'Amato's Sisters of Suffering, whether you like them or not, when it comes to the mega match and the leaders of the pack, they get it done and they find a way to win.
It's almost becoming a case where the New York Enforcers are on the elite team of the WSL, just one step above. The question remains to be asked, who will be able to step up and eventually unseat the Enforcers as leaders of the pack? For all of us here at the WSL, Broadway, Danny Wolf, Lee the Hawk Rehrman, I'm Ken Resnick saying we'll see you next week. So long, everybody.